Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's main event, the Eating Leather Podcast, sanctioned by the Sports Narrative Network. Let's meet the combatants. In this corner, weighing in at a svelte 300 pounds, Brian, the paper champ, Henning. And in this corner, weighing in at 195 pounds, your host and cruiserweight champion of the world, Dynamite, Darren Boyd. Ladies and gentlemen, Darren Boyd.
Welcome to the Eating Leather Podcast. What a special edition we have in store today. As usual, we have our esteemed co-host, Abe Gonzalez. Abe, how you doing, sir?
Good. How you guys doing?
It's a little raw here in Dallas, 50 degrees and rain, and it's nasty, but and you and I have the same background, so it's cool. But most importantly, we have the greatest producer of the world, the sports narrative, Jeff Bowers.
Howdy, gentlemen. How we doing?
Trying to stay warm. I'm rocking my Dolphins hoodie, and I just lost the camera. Oh, no.
Sure did.
There we go.
There he is.
But no one wants to hear from us because we are joined by the greatest trainer on the planet, Mr. Derrick James. Sir, how you doing today? And thanks for jumping on, sir.
Hey, I thank you for the intro. I'm doing good, man. Happy to be here.
Well, we can't thank you enough for spending a few minutes of your quality time with us. And we'll just dive into it right now. We had Mr. Chris Arnold on the other day for an hour and a half, and you're allowed to stay as long as you want, and we will pepper you with questions, and I know you'll bring the A game.
Right. I will. I have daddy duty, so I can't stay too long. I have to take my daughter to a birthday party, so
hey, daughter's number one. I understand.
Right, that's right, yeah.
I got a 15-year-old. She's still my baby. Whatever it takes, you drop what you got to do.
Yeah. Right, you're right, definitely. Yeah.
All right, so on the show, we're going to do a little bit of course, Mr. James is the important. Then we're going to, after he leaves us, we're going to do a little DAZN preview and the first quarter schedule they announced, and we will go from there. But let's get right into it. Hey,
Derrick, how you doing?
How you doing? Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So, Errol Spence, right? He's been training. Can you give us an update on his status as far as sparring? Has he started doing that, or
he's been sparring for like 3 weeks.
Okay, and has that been full speed, or you guys are gradually kind of getting into it?
He's fully engaged. He's all in, man.
Okay, all right, and then so the fight with Ugas, Ugas said March, April. Spence has said April in some Instagram posts. Do you know more or less, is April the date, and where is it going to be? Is it going to be in Texas, or is it going to be in Vegas?
That I don't know.
It's Texas.
I'm waiting to hear from his management, and as for a date and for a location, location doesn't really matter, but because they'll say, man, it doesn't matter. We have to show up to fight anyway. But yeah, for sure, I'll find out. I'm not for sure.
I am hoping it's Cowboy Stadium because all of us will be there.
That's cool.
That's mandatory.
Cool. No doubt. No
Right.
doubt.
I'll make the sports narrative pay for all of our tickets.
Or
get us a media pass.
Put them to work.
So are you training any upcoming prospects that we need to be aware of? Because our favorite prospect on the show is Andres Zejas, which I will ask you about your thoughts on him here in a minute. But what are your favorite prospects you're training currently, sir?
I have a young guy, Frank Martin. Frank Martin, I believe, is 15-0. He just fought this past Saturday as the main event on Fox. So,
yep.
And so he's that's my last. It's like the only training like 5 fighters, and no more than that. And so he's my young guy for now.
Now, my question to you is, how do you mold your training habits to different fighters at the different stages of their career? If that makes sense, as far as, you got an upcoming guy, and obviously you've got the world leader in Spence. How do you mold your training for them?
Well, I think I reached them from an intellectual level, because it's like where they are from a skill set and help them to understand boxing intellectually, to where they're not only reacting, but they're making things happen. And at the same time, have them prepared for whatever the other guy do, because you always want to do what you want to do. And you can do that 1,000%. But it's the key to be able to react to what he does. And that's all it comes with timing and reaction time. Then at the same time, try to set punches up and create situations, scenarios, and be defensively savvy at the same time. So it's like I'm saying all these things, but that's how everything goes into 1 or 2 punches being landed and 1 or 2 punches not being landed. Is about being intelligent, setting the guy up, and at the same time being able to react to when you want to punch and when he presents a situation or scenario, and at the same time being defensively savvy. So all these things go into 1 or 2 punches being landed or not being landed.
Now, I told you we're going to nerd out a little bit. So as far as, say, a Spence versus the possible fight he's got coming up with, would you recommend like a double jab or right hand combination? Or how do you feel about that as far as getting low and explosive?
I always recommend jabs. The most important punch in boxing is the jab. The fastest punch you can throw is the jab, and the hardest punch to block is the jab. So I think that you have to be able to jab throughout the whole fight. Because if you're not jabbing, you're just throwing right hands and hooks. So the jab does several things. It has the job to do 2 to 3 different things. It has the job to blind a guy. It has a job to set a guy up. It has a job to control distance and range and do other things also. So you have to be able to throw a jab throughout the whole fight. If not, you're just throwing hooks and jabs. And you can see that hooks and right hands, you can see those coming every day.
Now, before I turn it back to Abe here in a second, who was your favorite jabber of all time? Because mine is Larry Holmes and George Foreman. They both had telephone pole jabs, as they used to say back in the day. Who was yours, sir?
I think that my favorite jabber throughout history probably was, like, you would say Larry Holmes, right?
Yes,
but
sir.
Like, presently, it's a more complex and perplexed answer, because as Jamel Charlo just knocked out a guy 2 years ago with a jab, but Errol throws a jab. He has a more consistent jab, because he throws a jab throughout the whole fight. So I think that it's both of those 2 guys.
And he can bring it from Errol can bring it from different levels too. That's what I love. Is he can go low, medium, and high. It's just like the Larry Holmes with just what was the 81-inch reach? I can't remember, but
Right.
I got to turn it over to Abe to bombard you with a few questions.
Wait a minute.
Oh yes, sir. I cut you off. I apologize.
But at the same time, like I said, Errol can throw him. I think Errol throws him more consistently throughout the fight. But at the same time, Jamel just knocked the guy with a jab. He threw a jab to the head, and boom, jab to the body, knocked him out. So I think that those 2 guys to me have the better jab in boxing. But Errol's is more consistent throughout the whole fight. But so yeah.
All right, Abe, take over.
Hey, Derrick. So you mentioned 2 guys that I had questions on. So Frank Martin. I was ringside in August in Vegas on Press Row when I saw him fight, and it felt like this fight that he had a week ago. He looked a lot better. I don't know if it was matchmaking, the guy that he was facing that made the difference, but it just didn't seem like he was hitting in all cylinders in August. But last week he was. Did you kind of see the same thing, or was it that he's just been growing and progressing, and it was more so of an opponent matchmaking situation?
I think that, first of all, I think he looked great even in August. But I think what happened was the opponent was not. It was tougher. It was not going to go anywhere. This guy, it's all about it was more strategic. Even with the first fight, it was more strategy, right? But the guy, I think, he had more dimensions in the fight before. This fight, the guy had an amazing record. He was a great fighter, but I think that he was a big puncher, and we were able to counterpunch and do the things we wanted to do to get Frank in the right position to get those punches off.
Gotcha. And then with Jamel Charlo, so looks like it's going to be a March timeframe where he's going to have the rematch with Castaño. Looking into that now, are you guys starting the preparation phase for that, or is it still?
We're getting everything together. We're getting everything together right now. Getting everything planning, training camp, and everything like that. Yeah.
And looking back at that first fight, were there moments that you think that there were missed opportunities for Jamel that he could have capitalized, that potentially can capitalize here in the second one?
I think in every fight there's always something going on. So not just that fight in particular, but every fight there's always somewhere you can be better and get better and capitalize off a situation. I think that you just have to come prepared and ready. Because think about this. You never get a second chance at life until you get a second chance at life. And so both of you guys have a second chance to be better than they were the first time. And so you can just about guarantee that Brian Castaño is going to be tougher, he's going to be rougher, it's going to be a more rigorous fight than it was the first fight. Because normally, if you know anything about his history, he jumps all over the fighters. He's all over the guys. I think that what kept him off is Jamel's power, which, he's a big puncher. He can punch pretty good. I think that is the thing that generally dictated that last fight. Because Castaño would only throw punches when you do the flurries at those last 10 seconds and sit around. So he did the Sugar Leonard thing. Where Leonard jumps in, But I think that this one, it'll be more intelligent. I think that it'll be a great fight. Jamel's power is still going to be there, but it'll be more strategic and a little bit different.
Did he, and one last question before I turn it over, did he surprise you with anything? Was there anything in the fight that you weren't expecting from Castaño in the first one?
No, I think that he fought the fight that I assumed he would fight. I mean, I think that what surprised me was that how he reacted when Jamel hit him. That's what I'll say. So I'll say that.
Yeah.
That was the biggest surprise to me, is that when he hit him, and especially in those last 4 rounds, he was trying to survive. He wasn't, So that's what I think that was the biggest, because he came as tough. He's a tough guy. He's gonna make you fight him. He's a phenomenal fighter. He's a fighter. Plus, he's strategic as well. But I think that he didn't surprise me. I knew what he was going to do. I mean, we knew that. I expected that.
Gotcha. Darren?
Well, sir, you and I are about 2 ages apart, or 2 years apart. You're 49, I'm 47. Do you get out and run with your fighters anymore, or do you just make them do the road work and then let them come back in the gym and put them to work?
Well, I do run. I run like when Mark, I have a guy that fought like 3-4 weeks ago. I run with him. We ran on a treadmill. Then with Frank, we ran last week together in the gym, because I work out. I work out like 5 to 6 days a week. I run like 3 to 3.5 miles a day.
Yeah.
And then on Sundays I ride bikes. So it went from 3 to 10 miles in my neighborhood or whatever. So I work out, man. I think that you can't keep up with these young guys and be successful. You don't have the fitness and conditioning to do it. So I'll be 50 years old and let me see what the date is. What? See.
Today's the 8th.
So, all right. So I'll be 50 in 15 more days, man.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
We'll have to have a special birthday show for you.
Hey, listen, 50 years old, man. Yeah.
Well, we'll try to touch on your career here in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I walk with the cane these days, so I'm just happy to walk. So I'm impressed that you're able to get out and still run with the guys and do the treadmill and all that physical stuff. So that's awesome.
Very fortunate, man. I feel very fortunate. I think that to be able to perform on this level and be consistent, I think that I have to be able. For me, now all the other guys, they don't have to do that. But for me and my sanity and everything I need to do, I think that my fitness and my health was key. I mean, like I just like in the last 3 years, I lost like 45 pounds. I kept it off.
Whoa!
I did.
You were a light heavyweight, weren't you?
Well, I fought a lot heavyweight, but I got up to like 236 was the highest. Like right now, I'm like 190, about 190, 192, something like that.
Nice.
So it's like I just had a lifestyle change. I just changed my diet, changed what I ate, and I think that what happens and what made it easier for me to do it was that I looked at myself as a trainer. As I say, if you could get to a level that you couldn't imagine getting to, the one thing that you control is your diet. And if I could get to a level that I couldn't imagine getting, then anything else I could do. So I changed my diet, I changed my what I ate, my lifestyle, and hey, that's what you get.
I got a question on that front. When you're watching a fight, let's say it's not a guy that you're involved with, you're just watching a fight, just like the rest of us, right? When you see those guys come into the ring, and they're just beforehand, what are you looking for? What things do you see when you watch those fighters that like can kind of tip you off to say, oh, this guy's got it, or this guy's in good shape, or this guy's, like when you come in wearing 150 pounds of gear before a fight, and then you got no legs one round in, that type of thing. But what do you look for? Exactly?
Well, what's funny is that I watch boxing as a fan, so I watch boxing as you do. Because if I watch boxing as myself, I would never enjoy a fight because I would always be critiquing this and that. So
100%.
I watch the fight and never critique. I mean, I'm like, I don't. I mean, because I'm not. If I'm fighting them, it's one thing. If I'm watching them fight, I don't have no personal gain from it. I just watch it as a fan. So my eyes are like your eyes for the night of the fight. I don't critique him. I don't say this or that. No, because I would never enjoy the fight. With that being said, I would never enjoy the fight.
Interesting. Darren?
Well, let's delve into your career real quick. How much time do you have left with you, sir?
I'm good. I mean, I got at least about 5-10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Okay. Good. All right. So you had a spectacular 21-7 career. I remember. I think your first loss was to Otis Grant. What do you remember about that fight?
Hey man, I remember getting headbutted and
he was a dirty fighter.
He used his head a lot, man. Cut me over my eye, cut me over the top of my head, and I remember getting DQ'd, so disqualified for the fight.
Wow.
Was that a USA Tuesday night fight? I'm trying to remember way back in.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And then you also fought Joe Lipsy, who is also a standard on the USA Tuesday Night Fights. As you can see from my Twitter avatar, USA Tuesday Night Fight with some jams.
Right. It was a lot of great fights and a lot of great guys. They developed a lot of fighters on the network.
Yeah, I kind of miss having that. I think ESPN Top Rank Boxing does a good job, but when you were fighting and I was growing up, we had a lot of access to ABC Worldwide Sports and HBO Showtime, USA Tuesday Night Fights, NBC. It just don't get the access these days, but I think they're doing a pretty good job. Now, I have to ask you, and you've been asked this a billion times, but my buddy Victor Gonzalez wants to know, do you ever think Spence versus Crawford will ever happen? And if you need to shut me down, I understand.
I mean, I think it may be possible. I mean, I'm not in that part of the negotiations or anything like that, but I think it may be possible. I think that we will see after this fight, focus on who got first, and then we will think about other things. My deal is what's in front of us, but that may be possible. I always say that may be possible. You never listen. You'll see in the coming months. That's what I'll say.
Oh, there you
when
go.
When the Ugas fight is over, you'll see.
Oh, that's a tease. Love it. Abe?
Yeah. So I wanted to ask when we was talking about the weight stuff, Derek. A lot of it seems like there's a trend with some young fighters now where they balloon up, in between fights and they put on 30, 40 pounds.
Right.
Given that you were a fighter and you've, changed your lifestyle, is that a conversation that you often have with maybe like a Frank Martin or someone like that to
Right.
where you're kind of coaching them about what they should and shouldn't be doing on their off time?
Right. Without a doubt. Yeah, I think that the up and down roller coaster that they go on is never a great ride to be on, right? I think that it's all about consistency. Like for me, if I don't, like I tell them, like you can't tell me anything about losing weight because I lost 45 pounds and I only gained about 3 or 4 pounds here or there.
Wow.
Right? So it's not like because you eat a certain way, you get rid of food with cholesterol and sodium and all these other things. Like you just you just get rid of it, take it out of your life. And I always was the pescatarian. So I was heavy, like as a pescatarian. But what happened was that I would eat ice cream and a lot of sugar. I would eat ice cream, cakes and pies. Huh? And so I haven't. It's been like 3 years I haven't ate any of that. I haven't touched it, none of it.
Wow.
Just let it go because you choose life over, all the other ailments and getting poked and prodded. So I let it go. And I think that with younger fighters, if I knew what I know now, man, please, I mean, come on, I think that's what I tell them, the up and down, it's no good. You have to be consistent. You pay to get a dietitian or whatever. Man, listen, you know what to eat and what not to eat. I mean, I'm a trainer. I didn't go to school to be a dietitian. But I read labels. You eat what we all know what we can and can't eat. We just it's like what do we willing to give up to get what we want to be.
Right. All right, Abe. I'm going to cut you off. I'm sorry. I think we have like 2 minutes left with him. So, Mr. James, what do you think of a possible Tyson Fury versus the MMA guy in 4-ounce gloves? Abe, help me out. What's his the heavyweight champ's name?
Don't ask me to pronounce his name, but I'm sure you've seen it already. Is the UFC heavyweight guy that Fury is been kind of going back and forth on Twitter?
I don't think it will ever happen. But Derek, what do you think if Tyson Fury fought with 4-ounce gloves? What would happen?
Man, it may be something. I think that if they're boxing, right?
Yeah.
Not grappling.
Yeah,
that's the rumor. Was that? Sorry, Abe, I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I think that the guy with the better hand skills would be the guy who's the winner. I mean, so I think it'll be Tyson Fury. What's funny about it is I watch some MMA, but I really only watch Kamaru Usman.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Because I know him. He's from here. He's a local guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I mean, I really listen. I really don't watch a lot of boxing. I really do listen. I do not watch a lot of boxing. I think they went up because I'm so consumed with training. I work 7 days a week, so I work every day.
Wow.
So it's like, man, I don't want to come back and watch. Now I watch the top fights, the big fights. Other than that, I don't really watch a lot of boxing either.
So I cannot ask you about Xander Zayas then. Have you ever seen him on ESPN?
Never heard of him.
He's our official prospect of the show because I know we're running out of time. I always have to ask that.
Is he from here? From Dallas?
No, he's from.
No, he's from. He's from Puerto Rico. He's going to be the next Felix Trinidad, but he's based out of Miami. I forgot who his trainer is.
154.
Yeah, 154.
Yeah. He just moved up. He's undefeated superstar in the making.
Well, I don't even know. I never even seen him.
I'll send you some tape.
Okay, yeah.
There you go.
Do that, yeah.
I mean, he's only 19 years old, but he fights like Hagler in his prime. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. Or Tito, of course.
No, that's amazing.
Now, I know we're running out of time, and this is a very generic question, but what do you think of what's his name, Logan Paul or Jake Paul fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.? Is that as a purist, it hurts me to my core, but for boxing, I'm like, okay, people watch that.
I mean, I think that it hurts. I mean, but I think at the same time, it's like, man, people are intrigued to watch this stuff. What are we gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like,
Yeah.
We love boxing, but people love entertainment also. I mean, and I don't know, man. It's just I can't even call it. I think Chavez Jr. may beat him.
I would hope so. I think if I wasn't crippled, I'd probably get in the gym and knock him out at 195 easily.
I was
but
going to
that's
say,
beside the point.
Derek, you're running that same weight class with him right now. Why don't you go challenge him? Take him on it.
Yeah, let's put you back in the ring. Make some money.
Listen, I wouldn't mind making a couple $1 million and coming in time.
Exactly right.
I'll be ready.
That's exactly right.
Hey, you can sponsor the podcast then if we put you in the ring and you knock him out in 20 seconds.
But like this, you all set up the fight, and I'll sponsor this podcast. Hey, my daughter's ready to go. Y'all set up the fight.
The way Darren tweets on Twitter, he can get anybody. So yeah, maybe we will make that happen for you.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys, I got to go. My daughter just showed up in front of my
Oh, there it
door.
is.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your time. This has been awesome.
I will do it again also.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Man.
You
Absolutely.
rock.
All right,
there you go. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, I hope he remembers to turn his phone off. If not, that's all right. Let me flip that off of there. There we are. All right.
Wow,
man,
that was awesome.
James.
What a great guy.
Absolutely. That's
what a
amazing.
blessing. All right, Abe. Let's go over the first quarter of DAZN boxing schedule, which will put all of our audience to sleep pretty quickly, but touch on hot points.
So listen, there's a lot of fights here. The ones that I want to watch, and
that's a very good generic statement. I like it.
The ones that I think that fans are going to be interested in, Rungvisai versus Quadras 2 is the co-main on the Vargas Smith card. That's coming up on 5 February. That is going to be a hell of a fight. This is their second fight. And Rungvisai, they call him the Rat King, right? He's gonna him and Quadras is at a point of his career where he's not moving around the ring as much, so he's gonna be there right there. Oh man, that's gonna be a really good fight. Looking around, and 5 March, Chocolatito Estrada 3.
Oh yeah,
that is the premier fight. I mean, I could look at these other ones and probably just skip over them, but Chocolatito Estrada 3, it's going to be in San Diego at the Pachanga Sports Arena. That is going to be, as I marked the second one, Poetry in Motion. That's exactly what this is going to be. Third fight is in. Chocolatito is in Indio right now, getting ready for that fight, and he had went for pre-camp prior to Christmas, and then obviously he spent, I think, Christmas Day and Christmas Eve with his family, and then he flew back, to Indio. So now he's full on with the camp, and he's going to be ready. He is going to be ready. So it's going to be a good fight.
That will be another war. I'm geeked up.
Yeah, hopefully the decision isn't as controversial this time.
Right.
If it goes decision. And then the only other one, you got Virgil Ortiz. One of your Texas guys there, Virgil Ortiz, is fighting this guy named McKinson. I mean, I guess it's a stay busy. Virgil Ortiz is just one of those guys that he's ready for the title shot, right? And so he's waiting. The question is, which way is he going to go? Is it going to be for Crawford? But I don't know. It just seems like the welterweight championships are going to be tied up this year. I just don't see how a scenario where Virgil gets his shot this year, because either Crawford's going to fight, if Thurman wins here in a couple weeks, it might be Crawford versus Thurman in the summer. And then, with Spence and Ugas, what if it's a draw? Then we get that fight twice this year. So I don't know if Virgil or Boots Ennis get their shot this year, but I sure hope so. But, I wouldn't hold my breath on it either.
That's a very valid point.
I got a question for you boys. So looks like we're trying to get Joshua Usyk 2 up and flying. A lot of talk about that happening.
You stole my next question, but go ahead.
See, I'm anticipating. That's what I do here.
I know. You know me well.
it looks like that's getting close to happening in one of the big stadiums over there in England. You know, dude, Usyk.
You're a soccer guy. Is it Tottenham?
Yeah.
Am I saying it right?
Yep, it is Tottenham. Very good.
Okay.
But yeah, either Tottenham or Wembley. So I mean, look, Usyk shocked the world a little bit last time. In fact, shocked the host of this show, who told me there was no chance he could win. And
yeah, that was not a good parlay on my bet.
Is this something, Abe, where you think Joshua comes in there and takes care of business, or is this where Usyk really causes him problems, and this could really kind of cement his legacy as not the one-off surprise guy?
It's interesting, right? Because there was some news that came out recently that Joshua is not going to have McCracken in his corner. So. Okay. If that's the case, who he is going to have in his corner is going to be just as important as anything else. So, I don't know. It'd be interesting. You know, Joshua's been saying that, you know, he tried to outbox Usyk and almost kind of, you know, lean towards the fact that he felt that wasn't the right game plan for him. If he can use his size and try to do what Fury did to Wilder, you know, lean on Usyk, you know, and get them short shots in and all those things, then it could be a very interesting fight. My only problem is that Usyk is a very intelligent fighter. This guy is no scrub, you know, Olympian, you know, undisputed, you know, cruiserweight champion. The guy knows how to box. He knows how to slip. It's going to be really hard for him to do that. Be honest with you, if Joshua still has that opportunity, I'd take that step aside money and just fight somebody else. Fight Wilder. Really? I mean, that fight is still huge business in the UK. A Wilder Joshua. So maybe fight Wilder or fight somebody else. But I don't know. I don't like him taking the fight right away. And if you ask me, I think that we get a similar result on the second one.
Interesting. You stole all of my thunder because that's where I was going to go. Is like I would fight Joseph Parker or Wilder and get away from that rematch. And as you said, he admitted that he wanted to try to box. And I'm like, no, man. You know, he's never had the Mike Tyson, I'm going to kill you, Michael Spinks attitude, which I think he would have been a megastar if he would have done that. I mean, he's still a star, obviously. I'm not bashing him. We'll get him on the show one day. Probably not. But that's beside the point.
Yeah, okay. So I've got another question here. So we're into 2022 now. And outside of, obviously, Crawford Spence, what fight would you love to see come to fruition sometime this year? Darren, I'll start with you.
Oh, well.
Dream scenario.
Fury, of course.
Not realistic, just something magical.
Oh, something magical. I was going to say Fury versus... it's so tough.
Not a trick question.
I know. I failed you. All
right, Abe, go.
Yeah, Abe, take over.
I'm gonna hit you guys, and this is something that this is a fight that I've been talking about that actually could happen in the future, in the immediate future.
Ooh, nice.
Terrence Crawford versus Jamel Charlo.
Ooh,
I like that.
Nice.
At 154.
Yes, dig it. Yeah, that's very nice. That would be. Now, is that you thinking a post-Spence type of, beat Spence and something that happens later in the year type of situation, or is this just magical thinking?
Well, I'm thinking that if Crawford doesn't get like a legitimate fight soon, or let's say he gets Thurman, in May or June, and he can't secure the Spence fight, then the second best fight, or I wouldn't even say second, it's like a 1A, 1A type situation, or 1B if you want to call it, is him against Jamel Charlo. That's the biggest fight, and it would be for all the titles if he beats Castano, obviously. And so being undisputed in two different divisions, I think that will whet his appetite.
Interesting. All right, I've got.
What do you think about the Thurman layoff? How do you feel that he's going to bounce back at his age and inactivity?
I say that him being matched against Barrios is smart because he doesn't pose the biggest threat. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what Thurman has left. I mean, I hate to say it from a guy that's only like 32 years old, but he's been out of the ring for almost 3 years. So
a long time.
Yeah, and he's still suspect to the body. He could take a hell of a shot, but suspect to the body, maybe even suspect to the head. So I don't know what he's got left. But if he can cash out against Crawford, and they can make that happen, then he will. But I say that if he beats Barrios and they fight Crawford, Crawford knocks out Thurman in under 6 rounds.
Bold statement. I like it.
All right, I have a few of these to throw out to you, and let's see what you guys just generally think of it. One is Fury and Dylan White. Thoughts?
Fury destroys him. It won't be pretty.
Abe?
Yeah, I think Fury just walks him down and manhandles him and ends up just beating him up. Again, 5-6 rounds.
These are all hypothetical at this point, but how about Charlo and Triple G?
Very interesting.
Old versus young. What do we think about that?
Yeah, I've never heard that one before. So I go with the young guy. Triple G to me is way past his prime. But Abe,
Triple G is past his prime. But I feel like Triple G hasn't gotten a fight to really get up for since Canelo. And I think with the Charlo fight, he would really get up for it. And I think it would be a great fight. I don't know that we saw some chinks in the armor in Jamal in the last one. And so, that could be something that can be exposed. But, Jamal is going to be hard for him to come in there thinking that he's going to knock out Triple G because that guy has a granite chin.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, I got 2 more for you. One, Gervonta the Tank Davis against Lomachenko.
That excites me.
Yeah.
That's a tough one to predict right there. I will not put any Bovada money on that one because Tank is going to come forward, but Loma is Loma. So, and Abe, I'm at a loss on this one. I don't want to make a prediction yet.
I'm going to tell you that Gervonta is a hell of a fighter.
Yeah.
Lomachenko footwork and speed and positioning would probably give Tank a lot of problems trying to land those big shots. And if he can't, I don't know if I don't know if he can do that. But then again, I still don't think that we have seen the best Tank Davis either. So I don't know. Maybe that's a fight that really brings out the best of Tank Davis, and we could see him become a superstar at that point.
Yeah. Now,
well, our producer does not bring any softball questions to us, so he brings the A game.
I'm seeing Tank and Ryan Garcia have something brewing. Do we think that's something that actually might happen in the near future?
Yeah. So that is that. And this is, I've said this many of times, that is the super fight, period. You want to talk about the biggest fight in boxing next to Fury and Usyk for the undisputed, Tank versus Ryan is the biggest fight in boxing. You're talking about 2 guys that, have a significant pop culture status who brings 2 completely different crowds,
right,
but really big crowds, right? And that fight probably could fill up the Raiders Stadium. And I know people will look at me crazy if I say that, but I'm being serious. Like they have enough star power to do that.
Yeah.
They were just about to sign that, like maybe about a year or 2 ago. But things happened or whatever. And so I think that if Ryan if Ryan can fight Cruz or someone like that, and then if he looks really good, the Tank fight is probably going to be made this year, later on this year, and it's going to be the biggest fight. Everybody's going to be talking about that fight.
All right, I got a couple.
Yeah, there was some good Canelo versus Garcia sparring footage that came out today. I don't know if you saw that.
Nice.
Of course you did, because you're my leader. But
well, speaking of Canelo,
I was like, well, all right, I'd be intrigued on that one day.
Speaking of Canelo, would we want him to jump to heavyweight? Take it all the way to the top.
Now, before we leave, we must discuss the Ortiz versus Charles Martin fight. That was a heavyweight war.
I tell you, this is my thing.
I didn't pay for it, by the way. It may have been gifted to me.
I don't. It was a fight, right? But what happens next? Like, what happens with Louis Ortiz now that he wins? Like, is he gonna fight Wilder again for the fourth time or the fifth time or whatever? Is he? He's not fighting Usyk. Like, what happens with Louis Ortiz? So, I mean, I don't know. I just felt like it just wasn't necessary. Is he going to fight Andy Ruiz? Okay, whatever. I don't know. Louis Ortiz is a great fighter, but I just feel like he's gotten his championship opportunities already, and so I don't see what the point is right now when there's other guys that are coming up.
He's the Chris Arreola. He had a shot. He never made it. And there's no way in heck that he's 42 years old.
No, he's like 50.
Yeah. As I know from my beloved Samuel Peter, whose trainer told me that, yeah, he's about a decade older than you think he is. I was like, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, that's just what it is. That's just what you get for guys like coming from Cuba.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, boys, what else we got?
Well, Abe, do you have any Xander Zejas update? There's rumors he's fighting in late February, early March. I've been reaching out to him to get him on our show, and I'm still going to continue to stalk him until his lawyers tell me I can't interview him anymore. Any news on Xander?
No, but there is some Berlanga news, which leads me to believe that there's probably going to be some Xander news coming up. So they have Berlanga versus Steve Rolls for March 19th.
Nice.
There you go.
At the Hula Theater, so the small room at the Garden. So if I had to, look in my crystal ball, I have to say that Xander is going to be on that card.
Co-main event?
I was talking to one of my sources, and he spoke to Xander really recent, and looks like he's going to be, looking to compete in New York a little more this year. Because they want to build that market up. So
nice.
As far as Xander goes, do you feel 4, maybe 5 fights this year?
Yeah, it's not gonna be no 6 fights. I think it's gonna be more so. It's gonna be more so 4, but they're gonna be smart about it, right? They're gonna gradually, as far as level competition, gradually raise it. But the right move is to get them at these Hulu Garden Stadium fights, right, in New York. Get that buzz up with the New Yorkers out there, right, and some of the and some of the Puerto Ricans out there, because the goal is going to be for him to headline in June of every year over at the Garden. So you have to build that foundation up, and I think this year that's where they're going to do it at. They're going to have him, kind of build. And then, next year he might be headlining if Berlanga, between him and Berlanga. So
that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to get us some, since you're up in that area, you're going to get us some media credentials for that. Mr. Bowers and I will walk all the way up there to watch it happen.
Oh, well, I'm in North Carolina, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to make that one.
Oh, okay.
All right, boys. Well, if that's all we've got for the show today, I think we have touched on a lot of stuff. Like I said, very nice job there. Thank you, Abe. Thanks to the great Derrick James for popping on. You can go to DerrickJamesBoxing.com for all that information. And otherwise, Darren, I guess take us out of here if you'd like.
Well, thanks for everybody today, and I hope you enjoyed the Eating Leather podcast, and Happy New Year's. I think I can still say that on January 8th, and we look forward to what 2022 holds in store. And thanks for Derrick and Abe and the greatest producer of all time, Mr. Jeff Bowers. This is Darren Boyd, Dynamite Darren Boyd, signing off, and we will talk to you very soon.
Yeah, more guests coming. We got this thing all on lock.
Oh, we do. It's taking off in 2022.
Right, that was a good get.